Holy shit, I'm finally in this game, guys. I've been waiting 30 plus minutes to get queued up into a dungeon. It's been pretty fucking upsetting. But anyways, another Legion beta build video. I am Tal, and I'm going to be playing a Protection Warrior. Sorry, I've been watching YouTube. I'm like exhausted. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for the queue to pop. Healers just are not queuing up at this time. I mean, kind of annoying, but oh well. I mean, it is like 12 o'clock. Yeah, I think it's like 12. I don't fucking know. Anyways, guys, today we're going to be doing the Protection Warrior. Now, I originally planned for this video to come out earlier today. Today is still Saturday? Yeah, it's Saturday. It's about to become Sunday. But I was planning on this to come out earlier on Saturday. The issue was that my warrior jumped from Skyhold to Dalaran and then disappeared off the face of the planet. So it kept saying that the world server was down. I obviously knew that it was just going to take a little bit of time for it to come back. But you know, whatever. We're here now, and that's what matters. As you can see, I have my weak aura set up for my warrior. I decided to forego the rage bar because, unfortunately, again, I cannot take away this little personal resource bar here in the middle. It is something that you will be able to remove once the game actually goes live. So let me just be super clear about that. It's not permanent. You can remove it if you want to. It's just because I'm using LVUI on the Legion beta and it's actually kind of bugged out right now. It's beta is beta. You know, nothing's going to be perfect and things bug out, so I can't actually remove it at the moment, and I like using LVUI for everything else. It helps me focus in on what I'm doing, so I just leave it up. But anyways, Protection Warrior. My thoughts on it. The thing about the Protection Warrior for me has always been pretty simple. It is strong, it gets the job done, it's effective. But as far as any moments of amazing glory, any super special things only they can do, just fantastic things that they are able to do for themselves, I don't feel like they ever really have that. I don't think that a Protection Warrior is ever going to be the best tank. That's my thing. They will never be, in my opinion, the best. But they're not bad. Not at all. And in fact, I actually have way more fun playing this than I do a Blood DK. Just straight up. Blood DKs are very, very slow. They're very powerful. They have their place. They're able to take care of anything, just like warriors. They have more utility than warriors. But I have more fun playing a warrior because I get to actually do things. Blood DK is just too slow and it's kind of gross, honestly. We're going to go ahead and do a big pull here. Because I got some balls. Let's do that. And we're going to pop our battle cry and shadow flame this entire group here. Pop a shield wall. Get some ignore pain going. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Give me all that. And then we're going to pop a demo shout just to make sure that we are taking even less damage from all of this stuff. Yeah, I mean, I think Warrior is in a fine spot. It was definitely a lot better than what was testing in the past. Mind you, I don't think that that's a good enough reason for them to never really be touching the Warrior, because honestly, they haven't been doing a lot of edits or touching the Warrior up as much as I think they should have. Who the fuck pulled that shit over there? Jesus fucking Christ. Guys, I can't, like... There's only so much I can do. We're going to keep popping our ignore pains right here. It's much more important than shield block or anything like that, because it's going to be keeping us alive. We have our impending victory. I'm going to go over some of the talents that I chose in just a bit. Let me just make sure I actually stay alive through this. We're going to go ahead and Shadow Flame Shield again. Holy shit, where are you going to fucking pull that pack? Guys, we're going to wipe. We are going to wipe. Just going to throw that out there. This is fucking frustrating. But yeah, anyways, that happened. But I'm still keeping myself alive, and my healer died a while ago, I believe. Did she actually? I don't fucking know. Maybe she came back. As you can see, the roll things are kind of messed up. Everything's a little messed up when it comes to LVI. The projected textures and things are not really working out too well. Kind of sucks because it's definitely diminishing my ability to pay attention to what the fuck is going on. But that's fine. As you can see, I kept myself alive through that entire thing. Let's go ahead and make sure this thing is still taunted to us. And pop it in the face. But as you can see, we did have to pop all our cooldowns. Like, let's be super clear about that. We popped everything. But we stayed alive. And decently effectively. Thankfully, we were able to get a couple kills resetting our impending victory, which is good. But we just pulled way too much there. I think I'm going to have to be a little more careful with this group. They pulled a little bit of extra things, and it doesn't look like our healer was able to really keep up with the damage. So, It's going to inform me and make sure that I do smaller, more delicate pulls, because I really don't want to get ourselves killed, anything like that. So, we're going to go ahead. These two are patrolling. Let's just wait to see for them to come. I don't want to do a big pull. This group has already shown that they really can't manage it. Man, fuck this. I don't care. I got balls. I ain't got time for this. Battle Cry, Shadow Flame Shield, into a shield block, into an Ignore Pain, Thunderclap, Shield Slam, Revenge. So yeah, I mean, I find myself playing the Protection Warrior and thinking everything is fine. You know, it's not too difficult to play. It's not super boring to play, which is actually really, really important. I have fun playing it. You know, I feel like I have a tool for most situations. It's just not the big powerhouse. It doesn't have the moments of just pure joy that I feel when I'm playing a Vengeance Demon Hunter. It doesn't have the just complete, meaty, just answer to everything that a Guardian Druid has. It doesn't have the utility of a Blood DK. The just dazzling glory of a Protection Paladin. It is better than a monk, though. Fuck monks. But I find myself thinking that if I had to play a warrior, I could, but I would never make it my first choice. I guess that's the best way for me to say it. And again, I'm not trying to be negative on the warrior. It's just never really been. The only time I ever played a protection warrior and felt like this was the greatest thing in the world was when I tried it when I was playing during Cataclysm. That's for me the moment when I was playing warrior and I just was like, this is the best thing in the world. Nothing can beat this. It's better than everything. But that's fine. That's okay. It's just an opinion. It's just a difference of style. I'm super crazy about Vengeance Demon Hunters right now because their style appeals to me very much. But as you can see, I'm tanking this shit just fine and doing it quickly and having a good time. As far as talents go, I didn't go for anything too crazy. I took Shockwave, which I actually realized now I forgot to use on that big pack that we were doing earlier, when I pulled it with the full intention of doing that. I took Shockwave because Stormblood's not really doing a lot of damage. I don't need Warbringer. Took Impending Victory instead of Inspiring Presence because you never know what you're going to get in your groups. And I wasn't sure how much DPS we were going to get. Safeguard is the raid choice, I would say. So I took Impending Victory. I took Renewed Fury because I want to be enraged when I'm doing Ignore Pain. Bounding Stride because Heroic Leap's amazing. Never Surrender because we're always doing AoE packs and dungeons. Usually I would probably take Revenge, but I like Never Surrender for that. Oh, no, sorry. Into the Fray because we're always doing AoE pools. Let's go ahead and do this. Battle Cry, Shadow Flame Shield, critically block everything, get ourselves some nice stuff there. We're going to pop a shield block, and then we're going to pop our Ignore Pain. So something I do want to mention here is Ignore Pain is the big important thing to know about warriors now. Whereas Shield Barrier before was just an absorb shield, Ignore Pain does a lot of things for you. It is going to be absorbing damage, it's going to be letting you still have rage generation, and depending on talents and artifact traits and things like that, especially artifact traits boost Ignore Pain to very, very powerful levels. With all that together, your Ignore Pains are beefy, they are strong, they do more for you than just absorb damage. They will be helping you in general, just giving you enrage if you talent into it, and just it's very, very important. It's the big important thing to keep track of if you're playing a protection warrior. So know that it is an important ability. You always want to keep it up as much as you possibly can. That's why I have a tracker for it. It does go away pretty quickly because obviously it can't absorb all the damage in the world. But it's important to keep in mind. Focus Rage, I still think, is god-awful. In fact, the only talent... there's actually a talent that you can take to make it kind of a little bit better, which is Vengeance, which overall just makes you able to use more abilities more often because it's producing the rage of Focus Rage and Ignore Pain, and again, you're popping Ignore Pain all the time. But I went into the fray because we're constantly doing AoE packs. Never Surrender I took because if I'm dropping low in health, I want to be able to make sure that when I pop Ignore Pain, it's going to be healing me for as much as possible, and then Ravager for the AoE. So nothing too special when it comes to the talents. As you can see, I'm tracking the cooldown on Shield Slam, the cooldown on Revenge, the cooldown on Thunderclap, and yeah, I mean, tracking how long my shield block stays up so that I'm able to keep that in mind when I'm doing things. But it's nothing too crazy, nothing too amazing or special. Protection Warriors, you gotta be honest, are the very stable, old, reliable tanks. That's the way I've always thought of them. They are old, reliable. They're the ones that don't have too many crazy things going for them because they're very stable, they're very sturdy, they work a certain way, and that's how they're expected to keep working. And some people really like that. You know, people have been playing a warrior for years now, since vanilla, and people are hesitant to change, and that's fine. That's great. That's not a problem at all. You need those stalwarts of a class that are able to remember what something was like, remember the problems of things, and look to improve it in the future. But like I said, Protection Warrior isn't really for me. I can play it. It's fun to play. It's more fun than Blood DK, but ultimately it's not my class of choice, personally speaking. As far as raid utility goes, you have to talent into it. I would say that Safeguard is fantastic raid utility because of and dungeon utility because of one simple thing. Your intercept, I should say, has a 15-second recharge and 2 charges. What does this mean? It means you have vigilance on a 15-second cooldown. That's ridiculous. That's kind of options that, are pretty fucking powerful. And vigilance doesn't actually exist anymore, so it's actually important that they have some sort of replacement for that. And it's a big deal. You also have something like, where is it? Inspiring Presence. Well, actually, Inspiring Presence is on the same tier, but you have Inspiring Presence that allows your entire raid group or dungeon group to heal for 3% of the damage that they deal, which is also a decently big thing, especially once you get very, very geared and you have a lot of stuff going on and you're able to push a lot of DPS. I'm sure that the amount of healing that they'll be doing won't be ridiculously overpowered, but it's going to be noticeable. And in fact, if you even think about having double Protection Warriors, that's 6% healing that the entire raid's going to be doing just based on that alone. I think that in and of itself is a very powerful reason to have a Protection Warrior. I like that Spell Reflect has been fixed to actually reduce the magic damage that they take if they're not able to reflect the spell, so it's actually a really powerful spell reduction cooldown. And I mean, I just think that Protection Warriors are going into this better than they were before, but not super crazy great or anything. I can tell you that for the most part, I was pretty unhappy with the state of Warriors when I was first starting this out, but the more that I've played it, the more that I kind of realized that they are ultimately okay. The only issue I would say is that single target, they will probably have rage issues. As you can see, I'm already generating a decent amount of rage, but I am tanking multiple targets, which means revenge is getting a lot of value. It's pre-procking. It's letting me have a lot of rage to use. But in single target scenarios, you find yourself just wishing you had more rage, wishing you were able to generate more, wishing that it wasn't tied so heavily to the damage that you're taking. It doesn't feel great, which has never been the best part about playing a warrior when they have the rage taken system, or rage from damage taken system. So I'm kind of upset about that, but I mean, you can see that I'm doing a decent amount of damage. I'm actually very curious to see how much healing I'm doing with all this Ignore Pain. Let's go ahead and check. I'm actually beating out our Disc Priest, but is that a Disc Priest? No, this is a Holy Priest. But I mean, that's not super indicative. They're beating us now. I don't know what else to say besides the fact that they're effective and strong at what they do. They don't have a weakness, really, besides the fact that maybe on single target their rage generation is just kind of mediocre. But they're still strong. They're still powerful. There's nothing really else that I could say about that. Again, I would probably not main one because I've tasted the other specs. I've tasted what it is to have just super crazy, fun, ridiculous abilities that just blow your dick away. But at the same time, I feel that Warriors will be the very reliable, just always good. When in doubt, you pick a Warrior and you just laugh at anything that the game throws at you. Probably, again, never the best, but will never be the worst. Oh, god damn it, I thought it was a Blood Elf. I was about to interrupt all these. Something that I will say is most of my characters on live are Blood Elves, not only because I think that they look the best in Transmog, which Transmog is a really important thing to me because I just find it to be one of the most fun things in the game, just going back getting armor sets. But at the same time, I think that Arcane Torrent is one of the most powerful and undervalued racials in the entire game. I would say that it might even be the strongest racial for raiding. You'd be surprised at how many mechanics you can absolutely cheese if you have a raid full of Blood Elves. It's kind of ridiculous. And I like having more options to interrupt, so that's why I always pick Blood Elves on everything. I kind of want to switch it because I kind of get bored of watching Blood Elves all the time, but, don't really have the money for that. Alright, so charge in, Battle Cry, Shadow Flame Shield, Neltharian's Fury. I don't know why I keep saying Shadow Flame Shield. It's because it does Shadow Flame damage. And I kind of like it more than Eltharion's Fury, honestly. Let's go ahead and put up Ignore Pain. And let's do a Pending Victory, just heal ourselves up. I still find myself thinking that Focus Rage is ridiculously dumb. I don't like it at all. I would honestly rather spend the Rage on an Ignore Pain than I would on a... oh, that's probably going to hurt. Pop a Shield Wall. I find myself rather more willing to spend my Rage on Ignore Pain than I am on some damage on Focus Rage, because honestly, I'm sure that the numbers are probably going to be worth it, but just the mechanic of having to do that bothers me so much, of wasting my rage on a button to then further increase something instead of just instantly doing damage. I find it bothers me so much that I'd rather just say fuck it and just give my rage to Ignore Pain, just make sure I have a nice beefy shield helping me out. It's a personal choice. Again, I've already spoken about how much I dislike it, but it is what it is, and you have to deal with it. I wish they'd give us Heroic Strike back, or just remove it all entirely, but you know, what are you going to do? I do like that you critically block during Eltharion's Fury. I think it's very reliable. That's the special thing about Warriors block. Paladins can block spells, but Warriors can critically block, reducing the damage of an attack even more. And they already do a lot of reduction by itself, so always good. You can see there, damage, we didn't do too much, and as far as healing goes, we did a decent amount ourselves with just the Ignore Pain shielding. What item did we get a little bit earlier, by the way? We actually got a relic. Yeah, we got a relic. I haven't actually gotten a relic in a while for any of my specs, so it's actually really nice to have this. Boom. And that's the good thing about relics, is it increases, it's the replacement for weapon drops. What relics do is that they increase the item level of your weapon, so it's 754 now, and they give you a rank in here. So you see +4 item levels, and then they gave me a rank of toughness, which increases my stamina by a certain amount. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. And they're talking in chat about that boss's terrible puns. I encourage you guys to pay attention when you actually fight him on live. He does have a couple of dad jokes. It's pretty funny. So let's see. I've never done this optional boss, but that's what we're going to go ahead and do. It's actually what I was intending to do on this fight. This is the Emerald Nightmare, by the way. I don't think I've actually spoken about it. Just kind of collecting all my thoughts. I feel really just out of it because I was waiting for so long. This is not good. I was waiting for so long for the Q to pop. And as you saw there, what I did is I basically leaped and popped Demoralizing Shout, trying to get aggro and everything, trying to make sure that when I do have aggro, they don't like fuck me in the face. And that's one of the other benefits, I would say, of the Proud Warrior. They have a decent amount of cooldowns. They have good defensive cooldowns to use if you know what you're doing. So I don't know if our raid team knows, or our dungeon group knows, but if you go into the eggs, you pop them and generate these little dragons. So we're going to go ahead and let them know, because I really want them to stop. Stop spawning dragons. Don't hit the eggs. The boss also pushes you to the edge to spawn more. Yeah, just letting them know that if they touch the eggs, they're going to spawn dragons, and that's the entire boss mechanic, is literally they push you into the eggs to spawn more. Yeah, I mean, I find myself sometimes in these videos at a loss of what to really say. See, that was my fault. That was me being stupid there. See, he's going to push me back, and I want to be pushed back this way. Because it'll spawn the least amount of eggs, I'll just be pushed back into water. But I find myself sometimes at a loss for what to say, because I've kind of explained myself pretty quickly. I just kind of talk about how I'm playing, what they do. And yeah, like I said, I have more fun playing this than I do playing the Blood DK. But I do see the strength of Blood DK. I see the utility they can bring. I see how good they are. But I feel like it's more of they're really good for utility versus Warriors like just sturdy. They're just solid, sturdy tanks. It's important to remember that. Where's our rogue friend? Where's our rogue friend? I can't see him. Oh well. Go ahead and pull this bitch. It's on there. Battle Cry. We're not going to use our shield this time. I'm going to go ahead and do this, do some damage of all of our abilities. Shield block up, shield slam, devastate, devastate, and then we're going to go ahead and go into our Shadow Flame Shield. Fuck it, I'm just going to keep calling Shadow Flame Shield. I really don't want to try to call it something else. It's a very nasty little breath he just did. Okay, and then you have to fight against it. He's going to spawn eggs because he's not paying attention to what I said. I believe the closer you are to the boss, the less force it pushes you with. But, you know. Holy shit. Team is getting rocked right now. We need to pull him away. But the problem is, we were already pretty much in the middle. This is not good. We need to get him away from those falling rocks. I mean, our melee should just be on the side. Honestly, I shouldn't move the boss at all. We should be trying to put them all in the exact same spot. But if your melee is not very intelligent, like it seems this group might be having a little bit of trouble with, then that kind of shit happens. Let's heal up. That was fucking dangerous. That breath attack is actually really dangerous. I think I'm going to have to start moving away from him when he does it. Another downdraft. Let's go ahead and pop Battle Cry. Revenge. Do that. Get a shield block going. Yeah, I think what I have to do is move away from. I've never been in here, by the way. I'm just gonna. I think I should probably point that out. I've seen videos of this place. That's why I kind of know a little more of what I'm doing, but I haven't been myself in this place just yet. As you can see, this boss isn't difficult. I'm sure on Mythic and Heroic it will be a lot more dangerous, but the whole point is he pushes you away, he creates those little areas of AoE, and then when the breath comes in, I think the tank is just supposed to make sure he angles it away from the raid, and then just moves off to the side, because as you can see, it doesn't follow me. Pretty easy. Easy boss overall. Wish our rogue wasn't dead, and I wish I had a way to heal him back up and bring him alive. But let's see, we can go down this way to get to the last boss. That's what we're going to do. Again, I do just want to point out, I do like a trial run of these dungeons every time I'm right before I'm about to make a video, which is why I just kind of have sort of an easy time. By the time I make this video, I feel pretty comfortable pressing the buttons and knowing where my cooldowns are and everything. And it's actually one of the reasons behind why I make my weak auras the way that I do. It tells me what I specifically need to know about my spells and stuff. Like, for example, I'm not tracking the cooldown of Shockwave and things like that. I'm just tracking the things that are that I think are really important. And for each person, it's very, it's different. I know some people have already said if they can see my UI, if I can share it with them and everything. And I mean, it's pretty standard. It's just LVY. It's just my weak. I would say that my UI isn't so much the LVY and everything else around it. My UI is honestly just the weak auras that I make. That's the way I've always felt. Like, I could probably play this game without LVY. It wouldn't look as pretty to my eyes, and it bothered me a little bit. But my weak auras is the most important thing to me, and they're very personal. And I change them depending on the raid tier. I change them depending on tier sets. I change them depending on things that I'm tracking. I change them based on what I think is most important to know and what I think is most important to see and what I need to know to do my job, which is tank shit. So that's honestly, when people say they want to see my UI, that's what I think is my actual UI. Everything else other people create, everything else is visual or just aesthetic. This is a personal choice. This is the real thing that is my UI is my weak auras, because it's what I actually need to do my job correctly. As you can see here, as far as talent goes, the only things I'd really kind of want to try out is Inspiring Presence, see how much healing I'd be doing. But all the other talents, Best Served Cold I think is good. Indomitable is another good choice. Vengeance is nice because you start to weave in the focus rates, and it actually feels useful because of its reducing Ignore Pain. Don't really care too much for these two talents. They're probably going to be mathematically better than Ravager in some situations. Anything that isn't a single target, anything that isn't AoE, the other two probably be more useful. But I really like Revenge personally. We're going to go ahead and do a Booming Voice and then a Shadow Flame Shield. And we need to make sure this thing gets on us, so we're going to taunt it. Ignore Pain, Shield Block, Thunderclap, Revenge, Ignore Pain again, just get that even bigger. Do a nice big shield. Yeah, I mean, I find it oddly relaxing, I guess you could say. I'm not as energetic about it when I'm playing my Vengeance Demon Hunter. I'm not as hard trying to make sure that I'm staying alive and using my abilities well as my Guardian Druid. I do want to point out, Warriors have a lot less self-healing. It's really just Ignore Pain that's giving me the shielding and such, and then it's giving my Disc Priest or whatever priest this is the room to heal me up. But they don't do a lot of healing themselves. The reason I've been staying alive is just because Ignore Pain is giving my Disc Priest the time to heal me up with Atonement and everything else. I feel like it's important to just mention that because I have gone on record as saying that warriors don't have a lot of self-healing, and personally I do like self-healing. It's a personal thing. Again, not everyone needs to be the same way, but I like having some self-healing because I like being able to bring myself back from the edge. The thing about warriors is when they're at the edge, they can't bring themselves back, but they will need to be dragged, kicking and screaming, to get to that very dangerous edge. Like they're just that good at reducing damage, at keeping themselves stable, at being proactive to stopping things. That's I think an important thing to know about warriors. If you're gonna play one effectively, you have to know when the damage is gonna come in because you have all the tools to make the damage not hurt you as much. You do. You really, honestly, I truly believe that you have all the tools to make the damage be not as bad. But if you don't know when the damage is going to be bad, if you're not able to appropriately deal with the situation and be proactive, then you're not going to succeed as much. You're going to be taking more damage. And again, warriors can't drag themselves back from the edge, but they can make getting to the edge almost impossible. That's kind of what I want to finish off saying about it, because I think it's important to know. You have a way to make sure you're critically blocking everything. You have increased parry chance of revenge. You have Ignore Pain to shield you from a big hit. You have Shield Block for when a lot of things are smacking you, or big physical damage is coming in. You have Demoralizing Shout for AoE, or just for a big boss ability you know is coming up. You have Spell Reflect. You have Shield Wall. More than other tanks, I would say, you have to know what's going to happen, because you have all the cooldowns and tools to deal with it. But you have to use them before you have to deal with the situation, or the problem. Boom. Easy dungeon. I actually had a very, very easy time doing this. And again, it's because I just find myself relatively relaxed when I play my protection warrior. I find myself not having to worry about things as much because I kind of know that I'm going to be fine. I know how to deal with the situation. Now, I do not know what my loot specialization. Okay, it should be protection. So what did I get? I got damaging critical strikes. Reduce the damage the target deals to you. Oh, critical strikes. And I can force all my abilities to crit. So that is actually fucking ridiculously good. Deals to you by 33% for 6 seconds, stacks 3 times. Wait a second. It'll stack 3 times, so I reduce the damage the target deals to me by 1%. That sounds awful. I don't know if the tooltip is fucked up, but if it's only reducing the damage I take by 1%, then fuck you. I don't want that. I'm sure that's just incorrect. I'm sure that the number is wrong. It shouldn't be 100%, but I think that in total it should be like a little more than 1%. But there you go, guys. That was a very nice, easy run through Emerald Nightmare. I didn't have any trouble, really. Even in that big pack where everyone else died, we kept ourselves alive. And again, it's important for me to say this. Prot Warrior isn't my thing. But they're strong. They're powerful. I know what to do with them. They have the tools to deal with every situation, especially now that Spell Reflect has been fixed. Fixed in my opinion, because it only used to reflect the spell. Now it just reduces spell damage you take by 30%. And that's not even getting into the artifact. I mean, the artifact gives you a lot of benefits. It's going to generate increased rage during Demoralizing Shout when you Shield Slam in your revenge. It's going to increase the radius and duration of Demoralizing Shout, which is a big cooldown. You have increases to your health, increases to armor, increases to revenge. Let's see. Critical strike chance of shield slam by 5% during shield block. Protection warriors are all about critting and having shield block and shield slam synergy. Scales of Earth are going to burst when you critically block. You have a chance to have them come up, which are going to give you a bunch of armor. And they deal damage to enemies. You can get some more rage. That's not as useful, I guess, except if you're getting a rage cap super hard. Wall of Steel, having this synergized with Safeguard, for intercept is going to be making you reduce the damage that your target takes, your friendly target takes when you intercept them even more. Spell reflect is going to be reflecting all types of spells, and it generates 10 rage. This talent alone makes your spell reflect be a 5-second magical damage reduction. Fantastic talent. Fantastic. This Protection Warrior suffers a little bit from what all the tanks and honestly all the specs and classes are going to be suffering from, which is until you have the artifact maxed out, you aren't complete. So please, 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 remember, until your artifact is maxed out, you are not a whole class. You need your artifact maxed out so you're at all the proper values, you have everything that you need to have, and then you're going to be able to play. But as you guys saw, I very easily dealt with all the situations in that dungeon. I very easily was able to keep myself alive, even through a couple of bad pulls and a lot of other extra mobs being pulled in. And that's what I think is important to know about the Protection Warrior. They can manage the situation. They have a lot of control, something I've always valued about Protection Warriors, with Shockwave, with their charges, with the ability to throw it on AoE in other areas. They have control of the situation in the battlefield, and that is a very valuable tool. As far as raiding goes, I think this is going to be ridiculous in many, many situations. I can already see myself. I can see situations in WoD where I would use this talent to fucking cheese everything in the world. It's not so powerful because it's only 20% of the damage, but still, that's a lot of things that you could potentially cheese. And I say cheese, and it's not like you'll be able to do anything game-breaking, but you can make your life easier for the rest of your raid. And that's something I always look for, and you bet your ass I'm going to be telling you guys all about my tips, my tricks, my cheats once we're raiding in Legion. Go ahead and wait for that. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoy this video. Nice, quick, easy dungeon run with the Protection Warrior. I like it. I do. It's fun. It's more fun than a Blood Decay. Maybe not as powerful. To be honest, I felt Shield Wall was better than fucking Deathstrike, which, God, that's a sentence I didn't think I was going to say ever. Ignore Pain, better than Deathstrike. Poor Blood Decays. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoy this. If you like this video, go ahead and press the like button. Smash it if you do me a favor. Subscribe to the channel for more of these videos. If you feel like donating to me through Patreon, go ahead and do that. The link is in the description. And if you feel like supporting me through fan funding, you can go ahead and do that as well. It should be the little I circle above the screen, or it'll be off to the side of my channel. Please, guys, I'm doing this to help you out, and I'm doing it because I want to make this my career. I want to make this my job. I really want to go ahead and have a chance to do this for you. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys around.